So when you study for your tests tonight at home, don't forget to study this part as well, the real number system. I know that a lot of people just remember to study like the add, subtract, multiply, divide, rational. They totally forget about the real number system. So make sure you study those. For example, in the multiple choice question, I could ask you, -5 belongs to which set of numbers, for example. Okay, this type of questions. I could also ask you something like this, which in a multiple choice, which is the smallest number. Okay. And then on the back side right here, on Friday, we took up some of the questions already. So I wanted to go over a few more. I think on Friday we stopped at 10B. So 10B was whenever you substitute, what do you need to put around that number? Often. Brackets. So make sure you put in brackets, otherwise you're going to lose the negative signs. But back. Yeah. Two negatives make a positive. Does that apply to subtraction? No, right. So for example, -5 minus 3, they're both negative numbers, but it doesn't become positive. It's still -8 because you're just subtracting. When do you apply that two negative make a positive rule? Yeah. Okay, and what type of operation? Yeah. Multiply and divide. So when you multiply two numbers or divide two numbers, that rule applies. Okay, so for example, like 5 minus 8. All right, that's not multiplication, that's not division. So it's just regularly 5 minus 8 equals -3. Okay. Let's see. I went over 15C. Okay, so 15C, you're given two fractions, and you have to come up with the inequality sign in between, right, Babak? You want to put that away now? Thank you. And Harry too? Okay, so change this to an improper fraction, you get -9/4. So when you compare both sides, you know that it is equal. On your calculator, you cannot do -2 1/4 on your calculator directly. If you want to change this to a decimal, you have to change it to an improper fraction and then do -9 divided by 4. So you get -2.25. Okay. Number 17A, it was to do the calculations. So -1/4, take away 5 1/3. Change that to an improper fraction. Change that to an improper fraction. Since I'm subtracting, I need lowest common denominator. So over 12. 4 times 3 gives you 12, so 9 times 3 gives you 27. 3 times 4 gives you 12, so 16 times 4 gives you 64. Now that my denominators are the same, I can subtract my numerators. So I get -37/12. Do long division. It goes in 3 times with remainder 1. When you write your final answer, don't forget the negative. Okay? So this morning, a lot of my students just said 3 1/12 as the final answer, and they forgot that to carry down the negative. That negative, it could be on the numerator, it could be on the denominator, or it could be on the side. Doesn't matter as long as there's just that one.
Is it possible that we can, like, when we change the improper fraction to a mixed number, do we have to, like, add the division sign next to it? That one.
This?
No.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
You don't have to show this.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question. On the test, if you're not sure how many steps to show, take a look to see how many marks that question is worth. So for example, if that question is worth 1 mark, no work needs to be shown. If that question is worth 4 marks, then you might want to show at least 4 steps. Okay. So right here, this one, I'm dividing. So again, change it to an improper fraction. It's division. So I keep, change, and flip. Here, I flip the negative to the bottom. Doesn't matter. You could keep it on the top, keep it on the bottom. Up to you. And now I just multiply across. So 343 divided by -120. How many times does it go into the 343? It goes in 2 times with the remainder. So at the end, my negative sign is on the side, and I have negative 2 and 103 over 120. Okay, 20D. Okay, so I see a whole bunch of signs right here. So you want to clean it up. So this is negative 3 over 2. I have a plus sign, I have a negative sign, I have a negative sign. What do all these three signs become? It simplifies down to, Alex? Positive, right? Two negatives make a positive, and then positive, positive is positive. And then what about these two negative signs? King? These two negative become plus, right? Okay, so now it's look a lot cleaner. Instead of like 10 signs, you only have the 3 signs. And then lowest common denominator between 2 and 5 is 10. So 2 times 5 gives you 10. So negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. 2 times 5 is 10. So 1 times 5 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. So 3 times 2 is 6. Now I can add up my numerator. I get negative 4 over 10. Okay, these are both even numbers, so I can always reduce it by 2, and I get my final answer, negative 2 over 5. Okay, last one I want to take up from the homework, 24D. It was calculating the area of the circle. So see right here, again, 4 and 2/3. I can use decimal in this case because 3.14 is already a decimal. So if you're wondering when can you use decimal, when can you not use decimal, if there are decimal already in the question, then you can use decimal. All right. If the question is given to you in fraction form, then you have to use fraction. Okay. So this one, to make our life a little easier, we can change it to a decimal. So again, how do I change 4 and 2/3? How do I punch that into the calculator? Yep.
Oh, putting like an improper fraction.
Good. And then?
Divide the numerator by the denominator.
Yeah, so change it to an improper fraction and then just do 14 divided by 3. So that will give you your decimal. Okay? So if you use the formula pi r squared, it means pi times r times r. So I can do, so it's 3.14 times 4.444444 like this. But remember how it went on forever? So your calculator actually has this ANS button. It's very useful. It recalls the last number. So if I press that, see, my last answer comes up. Right, so I can do 3.14 times my answer square. So that will tell me to do 3.14 times 4.66 square like that. Okay, and I get my answer. So the question says round to the nearest tenth. How many decimal places is that? Nearest tenth. Nora? Nearest tenth. So how many decimal places after the decimal? Just 1. So in this case, 68.4. Okay, and because its area is square inches. Okay. Okay, so that was Friday's homework. Now I'm gonna give you guys a word problem sheet to practice. All right. There's about 6 questions. 12 questions. There's 12 word problems here. I'll give you guys class time to try it out, and then we'll take up the front page together. All right. Actually, before I do that, okay, just want to go over some keywords with you guys. Okay, some keywords. Okay. In word problems, if it says total or sum, it means plus. If it says difference or how much is left, it's subtraction. Product or the word of, it means times. And then quotient or out of, then is divide. Okay, so these are some keywords that when you do your word problems, you want to pick up so that you know which of the 4 operations you're supposed to do with the fractions. Okay, so keep that in mind while you do these. Austin, can I get you to hand this out for me, please? Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll give you guys about 30 minutes. Actually, no, it's not. Oh, yeah, it's last period today. Okay, so I'll give you guys about 30 minutes to start on these, and then we'll take them up. All right, we'll take up the first 6.